let's talk about the fights in the 2024 movie Gladiator 2 and decide whether they're good or whether they're bad. Remember, no shaky cam, no quick edits to cover up actors who can't fight, and absolutely no guns allowed. So, let's do this. Now, the 2024 sequel to the original Oscar-winning Gladiator movie kind of just came and went without much fuss, bar some awesome Denzel press junket moments.
First part of your life you learn, second part of your life you earn.
The movie itself is full of a number of fights, and many more than the original film, it seems. Starting off with this fight, the Battle of Numidia. Now, to the naked eye of the mere mortals of this world, this fight might seem like just a retreading of the original fight from the first movie. Big spectacle, big noise, big opening. But no, it is different. Why? Well, I don't know, because Ridley Scott says so.
Thank you, thank you very much. You.
No, I can't lie. I have my own issues with this scene, which are issues which are also indicative of the movie itself. But we'll talk about that in a bit. On the surface, this fight is okay, I guess. It has committed actors who are all in shape and shouting very loud. It has plenty of coverage in terms of the shots and uses editing to its advantage, so that's good. It's all structured, there's no shaky cam, there's no choppy editing, and it brings good focus to our protagonist. And this scene's antagonist. All is going swimmingly well. That's not a pun, but I'll take it. Until this moment. A really melodramatic and easy narrative move. Honestly, it's lazy. And truly, for a moment that's meant to spark of our protagonist's journey, we barely hear about his girlfriend after this moment. It cheapens what is a pretty solid fight and a pretty solid move. What the hell is that? No, I take it back. This movie is not solid, it's cheap anyway. So this is a fight which involves our protagonist, whose name I can't remember and I don't really care. And much like the first film, he's been taken to... listen, okay, just to save myself some time here, the plot of the movie is basically the same as the first movie. So just, if you've seen the first movie, you know the plot of this film.
Use your rage in my service, then you will have his head.
So, and now our protagonist is a slave-type person who's a gladiator who's meant to fight his way to freedom, and his first test is fighting these. What are these? I mean, whatever they are, they look awful. But not like 90s CG awful. More like those 50s, 60s Sinbad movies. Now, no shade to those 60s, 50s Sinbad movies. They were great looking for the 50s and 60s. But, you know, so was Batman. This is just trash. Complete trash. So these monkey dog alien things are not only ugly, like literally ugly, but forget about that. They have zero foundation in history behind them. Which, okay, neither did the tigers in the first movie, but this is like just beyond believable. This is mad. Therefore, this fight and moments like this, I'm out.
You'd unhinge me, did you? I fooled you. I kept my reason by reciting the multiplication tables backwards.
I mean, even the physics here feel just so off. There's something a little bit weird and unnerving, if I'm being honest, about a creature that I have no idea what it is, fighting a human man that we know nothing about and being strangled. The human mind just can't put the maths on this, and therefore the physics feel really off. I mean, look at this. It's just weird, right? And this feels like an opportune moment to talk about my major gripe with the movie when it comes to the fight scenes. and it's overuse of CGI. Even in the earlier scene we spoke about, the water, the boat, the arrows, the armor, just everything feels just so off, very disconnecting. Now, this isn't me having a go at CGI artists, it's me having a go at the filmmaker who went on from moving CGI in the first film to complement the film with just 50 effect shots, to the sequel, which is using thousands of effect shots, from simple things like removing boom shadows in shots to other simple things like removing bits of material that were left in the shot rather than just taking them out before you start saying action, to more complex things like dog, monkey, alien type creatures. And in this next scene, which features a man on a rhino, which again never happened in gladiatorial battles, the CGI is just cranked up to 11.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
So as I said before, as per the first film, Denzel owns our protagonist who is now in full battle mode, and is, we've also got these twins who are the rulers of Rome, which again, that didn't happen, but doesn't matter. One with a very suspicious American accent.
Swords! We want swords. Fight to the death.
One with an overly British accent. Again, doesn't matter, does it? Both are trying to outdo Joaquin Phoenix's performance in the original movie, and they're just failing miserably. However, it must be said that up until this point in the movie, I wasn't too mad with it when I first watched it. It was a pleasant enough movie, I guess, and this fight scene bar the rhino scandal is just fine as well. And honestly, I've been very critical of Ridley Scott over the years, but the direction in the movie up until this point was pretty solid. Even this mini fight, which takes place just a few minutes before the rhino scandal, is solid and shows us some really good filmmaking. There's some great choreography, as well as some really good character development of our protagonist. Scott's decision not to edit around this with, close-ups and mediums and wides, and just to have the shot locked off in a wide shot, is really brave. It's good, brave filmmaking. And it shows everything off very clearly. It's actually a masterstroke. But then my suspicions began to tingle slightly when this happened.
Life has been spared by the gods. I would sooner face your blade than accept Roman mercy.
Now, you see, we're an hour into the movie. Had a lot of fighting. Way more than the original film. But I still feel like I know nothing about the protagonist and his goals here. And then when he shouts this,
"No mercy!"
it adds nothing to his character. Now, in previous videos, I've praised reaction shots in movie fights before. Especially this from the movie Dune 2. Which really adds to the scene. But this...
accept Roman mercy.
Well, this is really how reaction shots go wrong, because they make the scene seem really soapy. First of all, why would any of these characters truly care about his plea for mercy? He's a nobody. I know nothing about him. You know nothing about him. And we've been following him for an hour. These characters have just met him. Why would they care about his plea? And secondly, the reaction shots are very poor from the actors. They seem rushed, which I'm going to talk about later on. Now, obviously, that cry is there to fool his opponent, not to fool us, it seems. And therefore, the reaction shots weren't actually even needed. And that really is basic filmmaking 101. It's the kind of thing and the kind of mistake that Ridley Scott should not be making as a 76-year-old man. I think he's 77. He's basically in his 70s. And he should not be making those kind of errors as a filmmaker. And at this point, my tolerance for the movie began to wane. And then this happened. And me and the movie were done. Now, before I go off on a rant about this scene, I would ask that you hit the like button, you subscribe as well, so you can calm me down. Woosah.
Woosah. 21,000.
Before I have this massive rant. It literally takes 2 seconds, and I will be your friend till the end of time.
What are you doing, man?
Right, back to this. So we established the film is historically inaccurate, and Ridley Scott doesn't care about history anyway.
Say, how did you know where you're there?
So basically, as a viewer, there's no point in me moaning that the scenes aren't accurate to history. But this is, oh my god, this is awful. Sharks, water filling up an arena. From where? Boats that have been put into, how do they get the boat into the arena? How do you get a boat into an arena? How do you even do that? Water filling up an arena from where, may I ask? How is it filling up the arena? Is it completely seamless? Are there no holes in this arena? Who cares? But going back to the fights, going back to the actual filmmaking, this scene is as messy as you can expect a scene where there's water filling up an arena. It's shot in a very amateurish way, with plenty of coverage, edits being used to cover up fight plot holes. The constant CGI makes the scene look very plastic, more reaction shots that hold no weight, and an ending to the fight which is more ridiculous than the water being pumped into the actual arena, where our protagonist, who we knew nothing about and know nothing about, takes a shot at the rulers of Rome via misdirected shot at a declared war hero for killing his girlfriend, who we've not heard about for 2 hours. Only for a few scenes on, them to be fighting in a wholly non-stakes fight in the same arena, which was presumably water's been taken out of this arena now because there's no water in it anymore. It's completely clear. Amazing, eh? The boats are gone as well. How do they get the boat? Doesn't matter. Now, why are they fighting? Because the twins found out that he and her have conspired against them both and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Why isn't she dead yet after this conspiracy? It's an absolute joke. And how can she say this in public in an arena full of Roman citizens and get away with it?
Death will be too good for you!
By the way, there's still a whole hour left of this movie, and it's painful. I've not even mentioned the awful subplot where Denzel is secretly working his way up the ranks to become the ruler of Rome. So let me mention it for a second or two. Denzel is working his way up the ranks to become the ruler of Rome. And therefore we have this last fight where, oh, by the way, the protagonist is this kid from the first movie. And also our hero from the first movie, Maximus, was banging his mother, thusly, potentially, when he was already married, making his tears for his wife from the first movie obsolete because this is his kid. It just ruins the first movie. Doesn't matter. This is the last fight, which is ridiculously shot, very bad framing, rushed, no emotional weight, just bad all round. The fight then leads to this pointless showdown between Denzel, who we've not seen fight at all in this movie, by the way, and our protagonist, who has just killed a rhino and an alien creature. Thusly, there is zero anticipation or tension here, and yes, the fight does end instantly because obviously Denzel cannot take on this superhuman character. So now, yeah, this protagonist who we still know very little about, I guess we do know quite a bit about him now. He's the father of Maximus from the first film. Well, he's now the ruler of Rome or some crap like that. I mean, who cares? It didn't happen in real life, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, who cares? This movie is awful. Plenty of historical F-ups. You know, first time watching this movie, halfway through, I began to turn on it and it pissed me off. The second time watching these scenes, I am even more pissed off. The acting is woeful across the board, and the direction is absolutely lazy from a director who has not made a good film since The Martian, which, in my humble opinion, and if you don't agree with me in the comments, let me know, I think is actually his best ever film. Yes, I just said The Martian is Ridley Scott's best ever movie. Now, I think you probably disagree with that. I think you may think Alien might be his best movie, or maybe you think Gladiator is his best movie, but I think he just pissed over Gladiator, so I don't think that's even contention anymore. So if you want to say Alien is better than The Martian, go for it. I, at this point, don't care about Ridley Scott, so don't really care. The two shining lights in this movie are Denzel Washington and also lead actor Paul Mescal, who's absolutely brilliant in a movie called After Sun. If you've not seen it, do watch it. He really showed me in this movie that he can easily lead a franchise. He has staying power and acting chops, and a real find. However, the reason why you came for this video is for the fights, not for me to moan about the history and the actors. And there's plenty of fights in this movie, more than the first film. And speaking honestly, a couple of them are actually really good. But they contain what is ultimately the movie's downfall. Too much CGI, not enough stakes, unclear narrative, and the filmmaking is rushed, and it's not innovative at all. And if you don't believe me that the filmmaking is rushed, and if you don't believe me that the narrative is unclear and there's too much CGI, this is Ridley Scott's director of photography, who he's worked with for years.
It's a bit rush. But that's changed in him. That's the way he wants to do it, and I don't like it. And I don't think many people do. But people love his films, and he's Ridley Scott, and he can do what he wants.
This is a bad movie, full of a couple of good movie fights, but mainly full of many, many bad movie fights. And therefore, this is a bad movie fights movie. In the comments, have you seen Gladiator 2? And what do you think of the movie fights in this movie? Also, which movie shall I cover next? Playing now is a mix of the Indian action movie Kill, which I recently saw, and Nosferatu, which I also recently saw. Which movie fights from these two movies would you prefer I covered in a next video? Huge shout out to all my YouTube and Patreon members who are now being mentioned up on screen here. You guys are absolute legends. You can actually become one of these legends by just going into the description, clicking on the link and becoming a member. Not only will your name appear in the video credits, you'll also get to see these videos nice and early and without any YouTube interruptions like copyrights and commercials. So that's pretty fun, I'd say. As always, I love you guys. Big up and big love until the next one.